Warning, Supernatural The Crossroads contains adult language and discussions. If you're easily offended, do not continue to listen.
Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad.
I went to the crossroads. Held on my
All right, this is a Supernatural The Crossroads. We are back for yet another show. No, I am not Thomas Cowley. Usually Thomas starts the show. This is Michael Flores, Hellhound Mike, as some of you may know me, or the Troll Killer. So stupid. There was no new episode this week, but because there was no new episode this week, Ryan Denton and Thomas Cowley didn't have it on their schedules to record a show. So they were unavailable, but I was able to bring in some people from the old network, Casero Radio, and I have Greg Darkside Holmes.
What's up, everybody?
He was actually, if you guys have been listeners for a while, you guys probably know who he is if you listen to any of our other previous shows on Casero Radio. Also, Maggie is here. How you doing, Maggie?
Fabulous.
Now, both of you guys are big Supernatural fans as well.
Yeah.
Greg, you love Sam's abs. And Maggie likes Abaddon's bootay. So stupid.
Wait, can we trade? Can I have...
I was trying to switch it up that way.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be a little bit slightly different show this week because, like I said, we usually, if you guys are usual listeners, you guys know that the format is usually slightly different. We go into the review of the episode, then talk about the next episode. But then again, there was no episode. So what I thought we could do as a regular, as a bonus show, because I know a lot of you guys were disappointed, when you realized there's no Supernatural show. That also means you can't get one of your favorite Supernatural podcasts as well. So I figured we can break down some things that have been going on in the minds of many of the folks in the fandom, one of which is the storyline, which I touched on this briefly. If you guys listened to the messages from listener segment on last week's show, I actually read a tweet that somebody was actually complaining / just kind of like, I think, trying to let the rage out, saying she doesn't even know what the storyline is anymore. Like, what is the storyline? And to me, I think the storyline's pretty clear and concise. I think it's there. But it is a little more complicated, I think, than previous seasons. There's a lot more in the mix. So we're going to break that down. Also, a couple new trolls of the week. I think, Greg, you know that I hate trolls.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you've had experiences with trolls.
Yeah.
I mean, and what is a troll for those who don't know? I know some of you guys aren't internet savvy, but trolls are basically just people that bitch and complain and moan about things that they just don't, and they don't back it up with any real intelligence. They just say, oh, I hate Supernatural Season 9. Why? Why don't you like it? It's stupid. And that's all their response is. And you try to give them a way to explain themselves, and those are trolls. People that just bitch and moan and complain.
And they think they're smarter than everybody because they're getting you to argue with them. They're like, I'm smarter than everybody.
Yeah, and then you give them a way to explain themselves. And you know what they do? Every time down. I actually will go and troll myself through the Supernatural hashtag on Twitter. And I'll look for people who are complaining. And I'm like, oh, hey, what do you mean by that? Never get a response. Never, ever get a response. But they do. But I look at their feeds, and they respond to everybody who agrees with them. So they don't want to defend themselves. They just want to sit there and bitch about something without any real explanation.
Well, and validation. I mean, that's what they need. Cause,
yeah. Well, one of these trolls actually told me, and we're going to get into that too. One troll actually said he did respond and said, well, it's nothing like, but it's okay. I'm okay with season 9 not doing good because I'm watching The Walking Dead, which is exceptionally well this season.
And I was just like, started.
Oh, dude, you just lost all credibility by that statement. So, is your mic okay?
I don't know. I don't hear myself now.
We're going to get into I'll fix it in a second. Oh, also, we're going to talk about the Jensen Ackles interview that was done on another radio podcast called Winchester Brothers. They did I'm not going to play any audio, but we're going to talk about some things that I listened to on the show. I kind of couldn't avoid it because the Winchester Brothers have such a good fan base, solid fan base. They've been around for a long time, and people actually were tweeting me saying, hey, have you listened to this, the Jensen Ackles interview yet on their show? It's actually really informative, lots of insight into his character, and they said it actually backs up a lot of the things that you guys have been speculating on your show. And they're kind of giving us props, saying you guys were right on with your breakdowns and kind of insights into the episodes without even really having true insight into the writing circle.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I felt a little bit of a victory there that we kind of that we can break shit down on this show.
Born, or that that deal you made at the Crossroads is coming true. Or...
Yeah, exactly. All right. On that note, before we get into everything, we're going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done.
You didn't.
Lay your
You
weary
did.
head to rest. Don't you
You need to
cry
take control,
no
Sam.
more.
Blow it up. And cast that punk-ass holy roller out! What? Bollocks.
Hello, Sam. Who are you?
His name is Gadriel, the original chump.
Was a chump. And now? I'm going to be the one that leads my kind back to heaven. I'm going to be a hero. But you, demon, for all your chatter, you will always be a coward. You should be running.
All right, we are back. Supernatural Crossroads. If you ever miss any part of the show, you can always, or if you want to just listen to us again or share us or take us on the go, Stitcher, Smart Radio, just search Supernatural Crossroads and leave us a review. Also on iTunes. Leave us a review there as well so we know that you guys are listening. And we're going to be jumping into the main storyline of Supernatural for Season 9. Okay?
Okay.
Now, what I was saying before the show started with you, Greg, was, many people, it wasn't just that one troll that was saying, hey, I don't really know what the real storyline is. I think what it is people are used to having a specific storyline for Supernatural. It was always been about, for the first 5 years, it was pretty much only about Sam and Dean. That is it.
Well, it was about them. It was about finding the yellow-eyed demon and all this. And
right, exactly. But it was always just, there was no other good guy back. There was nobody else you were really rooting for. It was the Winchester brothers.
Yeah, and that's what.
Well, now they have Collie and Crowley, not Collie. I was thinking of Thomas. Now I lost my train of thought.
Crowley,
Thanks.
Castiel, Metatron.
Metatron.
Who, when he came in, the first thing that I thought automatically was, oh, it's Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
Right. That's a lot.
And I can't.
And that's all he is.
Yeah, like even though he's more serious and he's not picking his nose and burping and trying to get laid, I'm just like, God, it's still Booger.
Yeah.
But he's playing an angel. It's still Booger.
But you know what? He has this personality. He has kind of a short man complex.
Yeah.
He has to win. He has the Napoleon complex.
Totally.
Totally. That's exactly what he has. But so getting back to the storyline of season 9 is, I think what a lot of people do is they find themselves confused because they're used to one thing. And now with season 9, you have Dean and Sam Winchester storyline. You have Sam's story, Dean's story, which is they're almost separate. You have Sam dealing with the fact with his emotions with Dean. He's fighting the urge to not like Dean anymore, even though he loves his brother. You have Dean and his story with the Mark of Cain.
Which is awesome.
Which eventually, people can say they're kind of one and the same, but they're also kind of going down their own paths, their own separate story paths. And then you have Castiel's he has his own storyline, which is, I think, yes, we've seen Castiel's storyline before, his own similar storylines in season 6 and 7. And 8, he's had his own stories, but I think this is the most in-depth story Castiel has had pretty much on his own.
Well, I think they set that up in the previous season with the angels falling and the whole thing with Metatron and even the last episode, at the very end, with all the angel with the angels coming up and kind of swearing allegiance, and him kind of like, I really don't want this, but they're like, well, you're gonna, it's gonna happen because he's kind of shown that he wants to change and like make up for what he's done, and
it's been a crazy ride for Castiel in his search for humanity, his understanding of humanity since season 4, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think this season is the final, it's the end of the ride for him when it comes to his search for humanity. I think the fact that he lived as a human for the first 9-10 episodes,
like that,
or until he got his grace back, he finally understood what it was like. And we talked about this in depth on a previous show, but he finally learned what it was about, to be human. And I think this is going to be the catalyst that will help him become a better leader finally.
Yeah,
and because even though he's reluctant, I think it's going to end up happening.
He's slowly taking it on because I think he realizes it's gonna, he can't.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, he can't stop it, and I liked how they just had his character kind of experience everything so quickly as a human. I mean, sex and like his one for food, and like he was like, I miss you, PB&J.
That was awesome.
God, that was just laughing. Then when they found out that he figured out about sex and porn, they're just like, wait a minute,
It made me jealous. I wish I could discover it all again as well. I want to discover it all all over again, like I never have. No, I want to be a virgin again,
like a virgin,
in more than one way.
Oh, jeez.
But it was just so funny though, because in every other season you had Castiel who was always just like, well, no, and then he had his little moments, where he would break out and but he never really did. He always kind of would revert back to the old Castiel, and then last season and then this season he's really
now he's questioning things.
Which I think is a good way to take the character, because I mean you can only go so far with him as he is. You have to change him, and it's perfect that they're kind of having everybody diverge on their own little
well, and that's what I don't think we've seen Castiel where he's away from the main Winchester wagon. Like he's not on their wagon all the time with them, but I think it's even more so this season where we see him going off on his own. It is almost like a separate storyline completely. Because the Fallen Angel thing, I think everybody thought that when that happened, the season finale last year, I think everybody assumed, that's going to be the main storyline next year is the Fallen Angels.
Yeah.
And if you realize their focus, the Winchesters they don't give two shits about the Fallen Angel scenario. That's Castiel's thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dean and Sam are worrying about their own things. Dean is worrying about the Mark of Cain, and I think that is their focus is defeating Abaddon.
Yeah.
Okay. And that moves on to yet another story with Crowley and Abaddon. Now, Crowley has always been that the lesser of two evils mentality. Now we're seeing how they'd rather Crowley win than Abaddon, obviously, because they're going to help Crowley defeat Abaddon. At least that's the goal. And that is yet another storyline that we have that is separate from the Winchesters. Yes, it runs parallel, and it'll connect with the Winchester storyline. And the Mark of Cain also connects with this because that's, Crowley wanted him to have that.
Well,
that's what,
he manipulated it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when Abaddon came back, I think the actress is hot, so I was super excited.
So was I. So was my pants.
And so I was just like, oh, that's awesome. And then the more and more they've just developed that character.
Yeah.
Even the episodes where she had the lesser demons, and she's like I can train you, I can make you better, I can make you better suits. And it was kind of neat to see how formidable of a foe that she is and that she's gonna be. So that's gonna be interesting, especially with Crowley off trying to find the blade,
which we're going to see in next week's episode.
Yeah, so
tomorrow actually we'll learn a little bit about that.
So that's going to be cool, because then that's going to bring more about the Mark of Cain, which I hope they bring.
They will.
They bring back. I can never remember that actor's name.
It doesn't matter. The guy from Psych that everyone loves. Yeah.
So he, when that episode happened, because I was always an episode behind everybody, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, Cain this and Cain that." I'm like, and I saw pictures and I was like, "Oh man, he looks badass." Like he's the peppered beard, and he's just kind of just there. And in that episode, he's just so stoic and just shows kind of how much of a badass he really is. I mean, obviously it's Cain. You know, it's
how much more of a badass can you be?
Yeah, I mean,
you killed your own brother. That's badass, right?
Well, I'll say, yeah, that's you can't get any more badass than that. But but
he's a good character. And the fact that they told the initial introduction of his character as a Western, in the 1800s, it just made it, because everybody loves I mean, listen, Supernatural is all about America. Okay, they really are, and the fact that they introduce yet another badass character in the American century, because that is when America was America.
That's even better, because then they can bring back history of the cult. They do more stuff with the cult if they want to.
I hope they do. I don't see them doing that, because I know Thomas always talks about that too, that he thinks it's going to lead to that eventually, and it may.
I don't think they're going to bring back the cult itself. I think that they're just going to say he helped maybe in making that, so he knows how to forge weapons that can.
Yeah, right. Well, the reason why I don't think the cult will come back, and we never really got into it with Thomas, but the reason why, even though I think it's a great weapon, is because the cult was introduced during a time in Supernatural when they knew little to nothing. They didn't know of demons that much. They didn't know of angels. They didn't know about all. They have so much more knowledge now. These guys are borderline, pros now when it comes to hunting. They're way more advanced than they ever were, and I think now there's so many more weapons now that they've discovered that kills things. That they have
letters. I mean,
but the cult is such a huge part of their life. It killed their dad.
Yeah.
And so why wouldn't they bring that back later on as a symbol of something?
Well, I don't think they should bring back the actual gun. I think they should
acknowledge it
and reference it. But
not physically bring it back.
Well, because I mean, you have the character Cain, who is the father of all murder and who trained the Hell Knights, or the Knights of Hell, and so he's got to know stuff that nobody else knows on how to take them out, and other ways than the blade.
Yeah,
but it'd be kind of a cop out if you brought back the hey guys, I have the code. It'd be almost a cop out, and listen, dude, you're.
Well,
it would take away the unique, the special.
Yeah.
What if they brought it back, but not necessarily to use it? What if it was just sitting on the shelf or something?
Yeah, they could do that. I mean, because when's the last time Thomas, I think, knew this, because he's an expert with the cult. Do you know the last time we've actually even seen it? Do we even know?
No.
I don't remember.
I don't. Honestly. All I remember is end of the, the first big.
Yeah.
I don't remember it after that. I mean, they've referenced it.
Yeah.
But I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah. So going back to the storyline aspect is again, it's so hard to say. This is probably my favorite season since seasons, I consider 1 through 5 all one, in my opinion. I really do. And I think this is my favorite season since the original 5 seasons. But at the same time, it's really hard to say which one's better. It's very different, which is good, because different is better. You don't want to see more of the same.
It's evolved.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, it has definitely evolved, and I think,
in a good way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's made the way for the show to continue to grow, because what happens when you try to stay the same all the time is you prevent yourself from growing in a show.
I mean, there's only so much they could do with just the demons. In the show, you
can't just fight the demons.
So they get rid of the yellow-eyed demon. They defeat Satan. They do all this and that, and then where do you go from there? You keep going back to the well with that?
You can't.
What are they gonna do every season? Satan got out again. Right. We better keep Sam safe. We can't. I mean that gets old. I mean.
I think this is the most well-crafted season, in my opinion. It really is the most when you look, and I mean by well-crafted, I think it's written, it's almost like it is an ensemble cast now. Yes, Dean and Sam are the leads, but it's transformed from a show that was about them to about a more of a larger picture.
Well, that's
which the show's always been about getting to the larger picture.
Right.
How Dean and Sam and their destiny to fight one another, that was their destiny.
Yeah, well, and it's what I like is that.
And now, history's repeating itself.
Well, even now they still have some sort of destiny that's been, long foretold or whatever. And what I would like to see is they're bringing back characters from other seasons. The beginning of the season, you had, you had Death, which that that actor and that character is just.
He's awesome.
It's just great. And I mean,
But if they bring him back and make him part of the story, he has to be important. He can't be, because they already brought him back once. Was it this year? They brought him back, or was it last year when Sam wanted to die? It was this year, right? Yes, well, it was the beginning of this year. It was the beginning
of this season, but then he was in was it season 8 or 7 where he was in more episodes.
Yeah.
And he was there.
Right.
And it was kind of cool to see him interact with them. But
because he kind of is curious at this point with the Winchesters, But I think when you need to bring, to me, it watered him down a little bit, because he was such a badass in the first in that final season, or in the season 5, I believe. And I think they watered it down by bringing him back, like in that aspect. They need to bring him back. If they're going to bring him back, he needs to be brought back for a specific reason. The fact that he even says that someday I'm going to collect on God. Like showing his amount of power, that he's even the Reaper of God and Satan. Like to me, that waters him down a little bit by bringing him back for like throwaway episodes.
But I think it builds on the mystery of how where he really came from, like who
created him?
Who created him?
Yeah,
because then there's somebody else who.
Maybe that's something we'll learn about in the spinoff episodes, because it's about monsters.
Yeah.
And one thing I see, there's so many things. Like I'm hoping the spinoff will answer a lot of questions about the monster world. I mean, it would be cool to find out more about the Reapers, because we learn about a lot about the Reapers, but we don't really learn about them, like where they come from truly. Right. So when it comes to this season, I think there is a central storyline. There is a main theme. Listeners have posted things on Google Plus and Twitter, and I'll read them as well in a minute here, and we can kind of reflect and talk about them. But I think the central theme and the main story is, I think it is all about humanity. If you look at it, it is about humanity. Crowley, if you realize, what did he almost get turned into at the end of last season? Human. He almost got cured, okay? And now you're seeing a different Crowley, okay?
Yeah.
One who was faced with humanity again, who was forced to feel his pain from his human life, feel the woes that he created on mankind. He was suffering because he was dealing with it when Sam was exercising him and doing the trials, okay? And then Castiel, what has he done? He's learned about humanity.
He became a human.
He became human. Sam and Dean are dealing with their own mortality again. Okay,
Yeah.
Something that they've always found a way to escape death. Now you have Sam, who wanted to die. Okay, that's to me that's a study into humanity right there. The fact that this guy who has been through everything to live, okay, wants to die now.
Well, he's always wanted a way out. I mean, he has. I mean, there's one. That's always kind of been a recurring theme, is where Sam wants to have that normal life. He wants to leave, and he wants to go back, and he wants to settle down and
have that girl,
and
the
have
family,
and all that things. Where Dean has always except for brief at the end of season 5 and a bit into season 6 where he got the chance to live a life he never got, that he never got to have, and as much as he wanted it, he was always torn between that and living the life that he knew, that where he wanted to keep kind of the legacy of their dad going,
right?
Kind of the family business, and he always ends up going back to it. And he's even said at times, we don't get that, we're not going to get that type of life, that's just not in our, in the cards for us.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks, because that's a recurring theme, is that a lot of people are like, man, like, be great for them to have some peace every once, for once, and not just like, a couple of days where they're not getting, hunted or anything like that, but like legit peace where they can, not have to look over their shoulder. But as the show has always shown, that's not the case for them, because there's always somebody or something out there that
to ruin it for them.
Yeah, that wants to ruin it. That just wants to prove that they are the best, that best creature or whatever. And I think that just shows like the fight to have for like a dream or whatever, and that's always been the recurring theme.
Yeah.
Period. No matter whatever else they kind of put on top of that.
Yeah, and then you look at Dean's struggle with the Mark of Cain. That, you know, as we've learned, and we'll talk a little bit later after the next break. You know, he is struggling. We may not see it. It may not be.
It's not in your face.
Not in your face. It's a little bit more, you know, covertly being done. But Dean's also struggling with the Mark of Cain, which is also in the end going to affect his humanity.
Yeah.
You know, his decision making. As we saw, he killed his first, you know, yes, they've killed real people in the past, but this, you know, the last episode in Thin Man, he was forced to kill somebody. Yes, he was in a kind of a no-win situation.
Yeah.
But he did it with ease, and he did it without any guilt in his face.
Well, he even mentioned it. He's like, that was the first time. He's like, that I was so okay with killing these people.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, I don't remember him saying.
Yeah.
That.
He said that. He's like, it's not that I killed him. It's that I did it with such ease. And you could see in his face that it did bother him, but at the same time, it didn't. It was just a very stoic look on his face.
Yeah.
So I don't remember that being discussed in that episode. I need to go back and look at that.
I know. The whole Mark of Cain storyline, like, is going to be. I think it's going to be interesting because, I mean, we're already seeing it now that he's slowly becoming okay with it,
but at the same time he questions it.
Yeah, but I think it's going to get harder for him to when he kind of sees how easy it's going to become to kind of take care of things by just killing people.
Yeah,
by just
we'll get into that more in a little bit later about the Mark of Cain thing. Can we all agree that the kind of the main storyline this year is kind of central? That it's more of a theme than anything that connects all major story points. It's humanity. Humanity is what's driving.
Yeah.
I think it's the subplot. It's what's underneath that we're not. Hey guys, humanity is the story. It's not. They're not making it, you know, heavy-handed. They're not. You know, that is what it is.
It's like
really break it down.
It's a spider web. That's the center, and it just branches out.
Yeah. All right. I have a few emails from people that I want to read. Actually, this is from Google Plus. Their opinions on what the storyline's about, but I'm going to try to break it down here. Melanie Hampson, the main mythological arc for this season seems to be the Mark of Cain, but I think this and the Kaz Metatron Heaven storyline will intersect towards the end of the season. Love seems to be the theme of this season, linking it to the last season when it was Cupid's bow, the grace of an angel, and the product of the love between an angel and a human, and the Nephilim that caused the angels to fall. Love saved Cain, so it will be love that will save Dean, Sam, Kaz, and both. In parentheses, she put that. Well, do you guys agree with any of this that she's saying? Let's talk about it.
I do. I think where she's saying love saved Cain, so it's going to save.
You're right.
But I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see more of another kind of showdown between brothers where, Dean's going to get to a point where he's going to be on the level of Cain, where Cain was before he decided he had enough.
Right. Do you think, though, talking about this, what she was saying, do you think that possibly, because most of Supernatural has always been about Dean trying to save Sam, and Sam's always kind of like, look at Dean was in purgatory, look what Sam did. He's like,
yeah,
he would have moved on. Not that saying anything bad about Sam, but it might be the little brother, older brother mentality, But do you think that this season we may find, once Sam understands what the Mark of Cain truly is, because he at this point, like we said last week, he doesn't really know what it's about. He doesn't really understand it because he wasn't really discussed with him. So do you think once he discovers like the fact that he did a Mark of a Cain maneuver, do you think that possibly he might be the savior of Dean? Like I didn't
even think about that.
He could be, but it's all how they're gonna they write it. They have to kind of move it into that way. They can't just have it be where, have a sit down and be like, Dr. Phil moment.
Well, no,
like, Dean, I'm really worried about you. I think this Mark of Cain is a bad thing.
I don't think that would ever happen because their personalities aren't that way. And like when the Mark of Cain happened, like it was, everyone's like, oh, now it's going to be Dean versus Sam, and they're going to have the battle it out. And like they already are. They're fighting at this point. So how much worse can it get? Them not talk to each other and them go their separate ways?
I think for the sake of the fandom, I don't think it's going to get much worse.
They can't because people fight among each other.
I don't think the writers are gonna do this anymore. I don't think the writers are gonna. I don't think they're gonna. Who knows? They may end it really bad. Who knows? Which I would be okay with that, because the difference between the thing is that people are not. This is the issue with this how whole like fighting the fandom fighting, and how some of them are upset that they're making the brothers fight. People generally who watch CW are network viewers, meaning they're used to watching things on NBC, CBS, ABC, and it's usually fluffy story writing and feel-good story writing. There are some dark themes to some of these network shows, but for the most part, it's very cookie-cutter. It's very like, oh, it's all going to end happily ever after. Whereas when you watch shows on HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, Stars, they're more true to real life drama and real life writing with real emotions and real feelings.
They don't end happy.
Right. And Supernatural's always been down the dark path. They've always told a depressing story. And I think what they're doing this year is they're doing something a lot different that they've never done before. They're telling a dark story.
Yeah.
And they're taking the love that you had for these brothers and they're ripping it apart, because that is good writing. It's called drama. And listen, guys, it's going to end bad. Just deal with it now. Supernatural people, it's going to end bad. I don't know if they're going to hate each other. I doubt that, but it's not going to end good. You can't end a show like this on a happy note. Well, Sam, let's all ride off to the sunset, all happy-go-lucky. Everybody gets a reach around. The end.
Well, let's look at it this way. It can't be any more nerve-wracking than Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Okay? For everybody that's a Supernatural fan that's also watches Game of Thrones and is a Game of Thrones fan, we all survived through the Red Wedding. I'm pretty certain we can survive whatever.
Well, that, and it's like, it's CW. I'm sorry, but they're not going to get Red Wedding.
Right.
And
simmer down. You so not saying anything. I think CW and the writers are, they always have. Kripke did it, and so now Carver is they're taking a page from paid television, cable television type writing.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. This isn't the fluffy feel good stories you typically get.
Well, that's one thing I like about the show is that it's not always a happy ending. It's not always.
I think that's why people watch the show. It's different.
Gets theirs in the end. Everybody kind of gets a, even a sad handy at the end. I mean,
At least they get a handy.
Not enough energy. Just like, oh, well, I guess I'll do it.
We're done.
All right. Next comment we got.
What I wanted to say before we go on to the next one, what I wanted to say was where Cain killed Abel because Abel was going to make a deal with the devil is maybe in order for Sam to, in his mind, save Dean from the Mark of Cain, from the the whatever it's going to change him into.
Right.
He might, I wouldn't say, obviously try and free Satan or make a deal with Abaddon. That'd be the most like, oh, he could do that. He could end up trying to get Metatron to help him, and then that would lead to not only Sam and Dean fighting, but then that would bring in Castiel, and that would bring everybody in at the end. Yeah.
Metatron's a bit too evil. I think he's more evil in a lot of ways than Abaddon. I think because he's the cold, calculative, when you're supposed to be good and you're created to be good.
Yeah, and you're bad.
And you're bad.
That's the worst.
That's the worst. Abaddon was created to be evil. She's acting in her nature.
Yeah, she knows nothing else.
Yeah. All right. So Julia C. says, "Hi, guys. I'm a new follower of the show, and I must say I'm loving the podcast. About the main story of this season, I really do think we don't actually have a single mythological arc this season, but more like two. This year is not about the angels versus the demons, but more about the angels versus the angels and the demons versus the demons." That's true. And covered under those umbrellas, we have the Gadriel subplot and the Mark of Cain subplot. Perhaps it's not all connected at the end. Perhaps it is not all connected at the end, but I can see how these two are clearly the two main threads of the season. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
She took the four that I had and combined them in the two, but she's basically saying what I was saying. Let's see. Then we have Sheridan Thompson. I think it's going to be about a brother sacrificing everything for his younger brother like Cain did. So Dean will too. Okay. So that was that, and that was it for Google Plus this week. I just posted this, so I didn't get enough responses.
That Dean's gonna kind of become a Knight of Hell or something like that.
I think that. Well, that's kind of what they were alluding to. I guess in the first episode with Cain, they said, "Hey, you know what? In order to save my brother, because Lucifer was deceiving him, I took the mark of the I killed my brother to save him, basically.
Yeah.
But going back on that, would he sacrifice again to save him?
I don't know.
Because
that's something we can break down.
I think in like we even mentioned before, where when Dean was in purgatory and when that Sam was just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna go kind of goes about his business.
He does, but then he redeems himself, and they go back and forth from saving each other, so to say.
But there's always a theme of like with at least with Sam, like he kind of just Dean's dead, he's at peace. Cool. But then like you said, he redeems himself.
He redeems himself.
Where Dean like is always trying to save Sam. Like Sam is always in the back of Dean's mind to keep him safe.
Well, that's from season 1. He's always been trying to take care of him, and that's been his duty in life.
Yeah, and I just recently watched season 1 again. I'm trying to go back and watch these seasons again. There's a lot of similarities to their issues that you see in this episode. It's very similar, and I kind of like it's almost genius that 9 years later you're retelling a very similar story in a very different way. And I challenge anyone to go back and watch season 1 now. Go watch it, and then watch season 9 currently, and you will see the similarities more so in those 2 seasons than you see in any other season.
Well, it's cool because I've been doing the same thing, and it's like they're the same exact characters, but so different. They're written
they're jaded,
so
they're darker.
well. Yeah. But they have not changed a single bit.
Yeah, they've matured, I think.
Of
and
course.
They see things differently. But the bottom line, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I think, yes, they've grown and matured as brothers and as people, as individuals, like adults do. But the core person,
it's all the same issues.
When you're 25, now when you're 10, 11, 12, yes, you change drastically as a person. But when you're 24, 25, 26, 21, 22, as they were in the first season, you're pretty much who you are as an adult. Your decision-making will probably be similar. Your ideals in life will always kind of be similar. But the way you live your life isn't going to change who you are, but it's going to make you look at things differently. Okay, it's going to, like Sam and Dean in 9 years, they're the same people, but they're jaded and dark, and they look at things a little bit more, cynically.
Yeah.
And realistically.
Yeah, I mean, they're, Dean especially is kind of like, he, like everything they've gone through, this and that, and, again, like we said, the underlying thing is he's always going to look out for Sam.
Yeah.
And Sam just kind of wants things to be over. Like, he wants to be done with it all, but...
All right, we need to go to another break. We'll be right back later.
All right, Supernatural fans, this is your chance to get involved with the show. Call the Supernatural hotline at 818-394-0279 and become a part of Supernatural The Crossroads. We want to hear your thoughts on the latest episodes and rumors.
Got a brain chin that been a bit on top, and it's a man out of human skull. Come on, take a little walk with me, baby, and tell me who do you love?
Hey, that's Bud.
Thomas and I are the same type of. I don't like to watch the preview for the next episode.
I hate trailers, previews.
The only one that I do that with is Walking Dead. I won't do it with Supernatural.
I don't even do it with Walking Dead.
I like to know.
I don't.
I like to know.
So
I don't touch those at all.
And I'm reading this now, and this is my initial reaction: is Snooki is in the next episode?
Yeah, God damn it, man. I mean, let's
be careful because I don't want the Jersey Shore.
I'm not sure about that decision.
Jesus. I mean, Ryan and Mike told me this on break that she's actually in the episode, and my jaw fell open.
I could have taken a picture, guys, of what his face looked like.
Well, dude, that was my face when I saw the preview. I was just like, my whole world ended. I was like,
So are we going to have a ab off with him in this situation?
So stupid. The ladies might like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, let me just say this. Let me defend their choice of casting.
Maybe she's the monster that they've been keeping. Maybe she's been locked up this whole time.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
You could argue she's a troll, like a real monster. That's new lore, right?
I use the
and
word
the way
awesome.
you kill her by untanning her. Like, that's how you.
Carry on my wayward son.
we're back. If you guys want to leave us messages ever, you guys can always call us. A lot of this is just our opinions, guys. Don't get upset if you don't agree with us sometimes. I know sometimes you guys are very, it's a Supernatural fandom is very passionate, which I enjoy. And, these are just our opinions. Leave us a message. You can email me at michaelflores@CasualProductions.com and give me your thoughts on the episodes of Supernatural. You can also leave us a voicemail, 818-394-0279, and we'll play it on the air so that your words, so you can say your piece and say what you believe. And I'll read everything. I don't censor anything. So anything you guys send us, I'll read it. Even if it's like, hey, Michael Flores, I don't like you. What do you do talking about Supernatural? All right. So now going into this next segment here, this is from the Winchester Brothers podcast, another fellow Supernatural podcast. They scored an interview with Jensen Ackles, and it was kind of hard to avoid. And not that I'm trying to avoid this podcast, but it's very hard to avoid because people were tweeting me, "Hey, Michael, you do this, you do that. Have you guys heard of Jensen Ackles' podcast? Have you ever heard it?" And I didn't know what Jensen Ackles' podcast was. I didn't know what they were talking about. I'm like, he has a podcast? Mm-hmm. And then I realized when they sent me the link, it was to the Winchester Brothers show. And I guess they scored an interview with Jensen, and some of the things that if you guys want to hear this interview in its entirety, I suggest you go to winchesterbrothers.com and you can listen to the entire interview with Jensen Ackles. He talked about the Mark of Cain. Okay, getting more in depth here on the Mark of Cain. Seems like that's what we're going to be talking about this episode here. But it actually breaks down what, in fact, that we do see since he's taken on the Mark of Cain in whatever episode that was, 11 or 12. I can't remember exactly. He is, in fact, you are seeing the effects of it. Mm-hmm. And he says, this is what his words were. He says, imagine if Dean, this is Jensen, imagine if Dean took a low dose of steroids. Okay? He's becoming more, and he's basically, because he's taking that low dose, he's becoming more amped up. He's becoming less emotional, he says. And also, he says, he's becoming more of a tool for hunting. Okay? You can see that he's not losing his emotions, but it's allowing him. The Mark of Cain has given Dean a simplicity of his thoughts, he says. And it helps Dean ignore the complexity of their problems as a brother. Because normally in the past, he would want to deal with this. Now he's kind of shrugging it off and dealing with it. And he says the Mark of Cain is actually helping him deal with these and helping him ignore the issues between him and his brother. So in a way, if you break down what he's saying, the Mark of Cain is actually hurting their relationship.
Yeah.
Because if it's preventing him, not Sam, because everyone's blaming Sam for the fact that this is not getting fixed, and yet with Jensen's interview, he just threw a curveball saying that it's helping him ignore the complexity of their problems.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe in the past he wouldn't have ignored it. He would have made Sam, say, dude, listen.
They would talk it out.
Right.
Yeah.
And now maybe he's just saying, yeah, all right, go to your room, I'll go to my room, and we're not going to talk until the next gig. And I think and we see that it's possibly more of Dean's fault that their relation, even though we're blaming Sam for being upset, maybe if he didn't have this Mark of Cain, which one of our listeners, I think it might have been Rose at SPN, I think Rose SPN on Twitter, it might have been her saying that possibly the Mark of Cain is the actual reason why their relationship can't be fixed. And again, I love breaking down words. I could be reading into Jensen Ackles' words way too much.
Sense.
But if he's saying that it's helping him ignore the complexity of their problems, then who's really to blame on this?
To me, it's like making him a super soldier.
Right.
And he's just out there. He's going to murder. He's going to kill. He's going to do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Right.
So therefore, he doesn't have time to fix that relationship. And he really doesn't want to because that's not on the agenda. That's not what he's supposed to do in life.
Who's even to say that some of Cain's his own feelings weren't transferred with the Mark, because the Mark was something that that Cain took on,
right?
And then when he
and you become it.
I take it.
Who's to say that part of the previous
owner.
Is there a Mark of Abaddon I can take instead? Is there?
Yes.
Will you turn into a hot redhead, please?
Oh, well, please.
Thanks.
I hope I don't.
That'd be really weird. Come over to record. Hey,
that's going too far. All right. So also he says a colder version of Jensen says, yes, everything we're seeing is because of the Mark of Cain. That's his words. He says, killing the dude in Thin Man episode, the line between black and white is muddled.
It is.
He says that.
It is.
He says yes. He probably would never have done that. He specifically said in that scene, because the Winchester brother hosts, I apologize, I don't know their names, but the Winchester brothers hosts, they asked him the question, and he specifically said yes. He's all that is definitely a side effect of the Mark of Cain, that he killed that guy, and that the line is no longer, it's black. It's being,
not black and white.
It's being muddled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting insight into that, because again, we've been speculating. There has been nothing like saying, "Hey, this is happening." It's just, if you're looking and you're really and you're delving into these episodes and you break them down each week like we're doing, you can kind of start seeing that it was. So our speculations proved right. I guess he also said the story. He says the story mostly revolved around Sam, but it can be said that being okay. He also discussed the fact that for many years, because for many years the show has always revolved around Sam and his dilemmas.
Yeah, and saving him.
Right. It's always, the story has always, which I think it's a good way to get two people in a story. Like you have, he says the story has been about the brother, has been about Sam's issues, and Dean. You know, but it's been told through Dean's perspective. He says, and he said, as some people have said, that the story is told through like his eyes.
Yeah.
But the story has always revolved around Sam. He said, now we're seeing something a little different. We're seeing that Dean has the problem and is no longer focused around
and
Sam.
He needs to be saved.
Right. And he says that he doesn't know. He says he honestly doesn't know anything. He says he's only read up to episode 20, so he doesn't know what
they don't give it.
I guess. Well, they haven't shot everything yet.
Well, no, but I would assume they would get the scripts.
Yeah. Which I think is funny that they're still shooting.
I love it.
Because usually that people are done with the entire season, but they're still shooting. I mean, they were casting for the spin-off just like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to air April 29th.
I don't know.
believe.
I kind of like that they're kind of filming and then releasing and so on.
I think it's a smarter way to do things, because let's say a good writing team will take into account what the fandom for the most part is saying.
Well, especially with this fandom, you can't really piss them off or you're screwed.
And it shows that Jeremy Carver isn't being. Yes, you need to be decisive. You don't want to be indecisive, but I also think that he's done this. He's doing this. Yes, that might just be their shooting schedule, but in a way, if you look at it, it helps them be able to make critical changes that, let's say, sometimes as a filmmaker myself, you don't really know sometimes how things are going to work until you actually see it sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you realize, ooh, yeah, that didn't work. And this actually could help them tell a better story, because they can say, okay, I didn't really like how this is panning out. We haven't shot this yet. We're still in the middle of writing. Let's go ahead and change this.
Well,
we had this plan, but let's make this work instead.
They can even instead of most shows, they film the whole season and they show it, and fans will drop off at some point during the season, like at different points. Whereas this, like, they put out the episodes, they can get fan feedback, and they'll be like, okay, like you said. But then even too, like you said, as you yourself as a filmmaker and me, as visual effects artist said, I don't know how good something's going to look until I actually render it, take a look, and then kind of either go, okay, cool, that looks awesome, I'm going to finishing touches, or, well, that was a week worth of work that I just kind of put down the crapper.
Now, he also said something in this interview. Again, the interview was on WinchesterBrothers.com on their podcast. He also said that he actually specifically stated that Dean is not above scraping the bottom of the barrel because of the Mark of Cain. Like, he's not in relation to working with Crowley. Like, so this is making me wonder what else is in store. What else is he going to be doing in order to get the job done? Because this goes
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's really scary.
But that even goes
into the fact that he's a tool. That he actually said, I'm becoming more of a tool for hunting.
Yeah. Well, that's, and I mean that what, with all the hunters and, throughout every season, they've always kind of wanted to find a perfect way to take out monsters, to kind of almost remove that human aspect, where, like, there's still with with the vampires and everything like that. Oh, they're still a human in there somewhere, and some like, no, they're not. They're just going to kill them.
With the demons,
monsters.
you mean?
Well, any of the.
Do they do it with vampires too?
No, I'm just using that as a reference from and then even with the demons, that the human is still in, they feel everything. That at this point, it's going to remove Dean's humanity. instead of going like there's still somebody in there.
Well, that goes back to Crowley using him like
Crowley.
Crowley. I said Crowley.
You said Crawley.
Oh,
I
whatever.
guess it doesn't matter. I guess
Crowley. Well, okay, Crowley. Excuse me, guys. How is he going to use Dean now since he is getting rid of his humanity? And so is he going to feel bad? Well, of course he is, but he's not going to have that guilt in using him now because he's losing his humanity.
But I think when it comes down to after Dean kind of fully gives in, at some point he's going to fully give in to the mark and kind of figure out what he can do. Then
I think that's going to be the season finale, dude.
I think he's going to become a threat to everybody.
Yes,
because
he's going to go rogue.
He well, I mean,
I don't think he's going to look at things like freaking Terminator and Terminator 2.
He's going to scan it.
Kill everybody. You know, Sam's going to become John Connor trying to convince the Terminator not to shoot everybody. Come with me if you want to live. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see. I think you know what, Greg, that's a good point. And I agree. You know what, I think he is going to become a threat to everybody. I don't think he's going to become a bad guy, but he's going to become, using his words, he's going to become a tool.
A liability.
For hunting, that he's not going to see things emotionally. Oh, you're a bad guy, boom, you're dead. Okay, you're a little girl holding a gun, boom, you're dead. He's not going to be able to know that the difference, that humanity makes you feel the difference.
Well, and who's to say that even, when this change happens, we can see, we can see more of Cain. Where in the end, if Dean becomes this, he becomes the second Cain.
Right.
Who's to say that Cain himself won't try and use Dean for his own.
I got a sense that Cain wasn't bad. I don't think he's. Well, I don't think he. I think he was evil because he got tainted. It's kind of like if you got, let's say you got stabbed with a demon needle. Okay, you get infected by demon blood, but you're not a demon. Let's just break it down that way. I think he made a decision that made him dark. It made him a dark person, but is he truly an evil man?
No.
I think he became. It's almost Darth Vader syndrome. Bringing it back to Star Wars. He made a stupid decision that took him down a dark path.
Right. That, or what we can see is Dean becomes a threat to everybody, and either at the end of the season they lead it to where he is now the main threat.
Yeah.
And then the next season,
is he the bad guy?
Might be the bad guy?
He could.
I didn't even think about that.
Because look at what they're doing is that he's.
The fans.
I don't know.
Upset,
yeah, I don't think they could do that.
He's slowly giving into that feeling, and he's.
I mean, people were upset when Castiel was the bad guy. I remember people were furious.
But that's what makes good TV, though, is that people are upset because they're going to keep watching because they want to see them.
They want it to get better.
And so we can see Dean becoming the threat,
and maybe Sam saving him,
and Sam, and then everybody kind of.
Sam will help him take this mask off and help him, just like Darth Vader.
No, this is what I think.
Oh my god!
This is what I think is going to happen. Is Dean is going to become the threat, not so much like the main villain, but you're going to see everybody kind of almost rally together to, somehow capture Dean and
Well, kind of
do
like
something. Or what they can do is that he becomes a threat, and then Dean, has that kind of duality where he doesn't he wants to keep this power, but he wants to kind of regain his humanity back in a way. We can see him Cain.
It might be like Sam with the demon blood.
Yeah, and we can see him return to Cain to kind of,
figure out how to beat it.
How Cain beat it and how Cain
overcame it.
Yeah, overcame it and everything. So you kind of see
or overcame it.
Oh, so snaps!
So we might have a whole Jedi and Padawan situation going.
Yeah,
I love it, dude. You just excited me, Greg.
No homo.
I'm excited here. The story.
That was a whole different world that you just discovered.
That's exciting, but it's exciting because I would be okay with that.
Your world,
so stupid. Okay, Aladdin. I think it would be. I think it would be awesome though if we did see something like that and gave Sam a greater purpose. They say, listen, let's say next season is the last season. Hopefully it's not, but let's say next season is last 10 seasons that are done. And make it about Sam saving Dean.
And not be a damsel.
That's the theme. Sam is saving Dean.
And that would be a good way to end it.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not at the end of the season have Dean become what Cain was, but Dean has is Sam.
Right.
And it's the same with Cain. Cain had his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to see where I think they're not going to repeat that storyline where Dean goes to save Sam from the demons with this new power. But I think you're going to see Dean kind of realize this power that I have, I can change the world. And like he even said, he's not above scraping the bottom of the barrel. I think once he gets the blade, I mean, we could see him turn on Crowley and take him out. I mean, he's been a thorn in his side for how many? For
6 seasons.
6 seasons now. We can see him, kind of get the blade, and Crowley be like, "Oh, now remember, our deal," and blah blah. And Dean be like, "Yeah, I remember." And then, thump.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be horrible though. That'd be a terrible way out for Crowley.
Yeah.
But again, of course, they wouldn't.
I think God.
That'd be
I think God's
really
going to interfere and save everybody. I've said this from day one since Supernatural, since the end of Supernatural season 5, and I think eventually.
But once God comes,
gonna show up?
Oh gosh!
All right, you know what? On that note, we need to go to a break, and then we're going to come back for the Troll of the Week.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
This is Michael Flores, and this is just your reminder that you can follow us on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/supernatural the Crossroads. Also, you can find us on Twitter. Go to twitter.com/crossroads SPN and get involved with the show.
All right. We are back. You can always help us out. If you guys like this show, you guys can always help us out by leaving us reviews on our Stitcher. Just go to Stitcher.com and search Supernatural The Crossroads. Add us to your favorites, and then leave us a review. By leaving us a review, it helps us climb the charts. In fact, I didn't get to blow our own trumpet earlier, but we actually surpassed on the charts of Stitcher. We surpassed Kevin Smith's show.
Bam!
The Smodcast, the Secret Stash, it's called. We actually passed that show, which is a big deal. So thank you guys for giving us reviews. Please keep giving us reviews. Also, we're on iTunes, Supernatural The Crossroads, and leave us reviews there as well. iTunes is a little harder to track how well we do, but if you guys leave us reviews, we'll know that we have some listeners on iTunes. Thank you so much. Okay, getting on to this Troll of the Week.
Now hold on, Mike. This is Morgan Freeman. I understand you might be surprised if I show up as God in Supernatural. I mean, now remember, before you die, you see my face, because remember, Mike, Morgan Freeman is God. Thanks.
I didn't realize we had God here today.
Thank God. Oh.
All right, so Troll of the Week. And again, you guys don't know this. Ryan and Thomas and the listeners know that I pride myself on trolling trolls. And I'm going to make it an even better game from now on. Like, I'm actually going to make it a mission to troll trolls. And on this one, I actually posted this on our Facebook and our group, and people were trying to trash talk this lady, which is fine. I kind of feel bad for giving people her name, but I did. I mean, it was I actually looked to see if it was posted publicly, and it was. So because it was posted publicly, and you weren't like a friend of mine, and you were private, I wouldn't post that. But because it was posted, Greg, what does www mean?
That means the World Wide Web.
Right. So if you post something on the World Wide Web, I'm going to make sure everyone else sees it through my friends as well, if it's a troll post. And they made something. This lady, for no reason, Melissa Atwell, stated, "Dear Supernatural fans," I can hear the condescending oozing out of this post. "Dear Supernatural fans, when does this show get good?" That's all she posted. That's all.
It's like the scene from Die Hard with a Vengeance when he walks into Harlem with the sign on him. That's literally just asking for people to just go at you. I mean, that's that's like a comic book fan walking into an anime convention going, "Anime sucks."
Yeah. So that troll, I just sliced her. Okay, number two troll is Olga Ichais, I guess how you say it. Somebody was out tweeting saying, okay, this is his response to Supernatural. He was talking to another person who proclaims to be a Supernatural fan, and he says, actually, seasons 4, 5, I don't know what this means. He's all, interesting. And he puts a question mark. SPN. 6, 7, 8, too much shipping, boring. Season 9 for me, 0, as in me no watch. First off, dude, learn how to form a effing sentence. I know it's social media.
That broke my brain.
Wait,
I know.
It Chiso? That would be. I thought it was. I read
It's
it as
Chico.
Chico.
Oh, is it? Oh, I don't see. Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was an E. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on.
Which I don't understand because he has the fighting Irish leprechaun.
He's confused.
He's Irish Mexican. Okay.
First off, dude, if you're gonna troll, like, I understand social media and there's typos because social media's done it, but at least form a complete sentence. I don't even understand what. Maybe he wasn't even trolling. So then I wrote, "Oh, that's too bad. Season 9 is shaping out to be really good." I actually addressed him, and he's all, "Oh, that's not what my SBN friends blogged me. They are fed up with Carver ruining the bros' relationship." And then he's all, "Some blogged to me how Carver killed Kevin and ghost him, like Gamble's killed Bobby and ghost him too." Again, I don't understand his choice of words. I get what he's saying, but it's just so broken up. I guess
Maybe
some BS I can miss.
Okay, so first off, the dude's from New Jersey, so already right there, he has no credibility.
Oh, simmer down. Do we have New Jersey listeners?
I'm talking about just this guy.
Okay.
But the fact that he can't form a sentence, one, just is I can't.
I was going to say that he's maybe foreign. I was giving him that.
Listen, I get emails from foreigners all the time, and I can understand what they're saying. This guy is just broken, and they have broken English, but they're forming sentences correctly, and their grammar is correct for the most part. This person is just ignorant, I think, and doesn't know how to write. So he says. So first off, he said some blogged. This is not what my SBN friends are blogging me. First off, it's secondhand knowledge. He's not even watching it for himself. Number one, that is why he's a troll, and that's why I do one slice to his throat. Okay, with my sword. Okay, but he's not dead yet. He's not dead yet, Greg.
Torture.
And then we have him, and then this is the solidifying right here. His comment. However, he tweets me again, "I am enjoying The Walking Dead this season, so no need to miss SBN. Love Rick and Daryl on #The Walking Dead." And I just finished him off with a death stroke. Because, listen, dude, please do not compare the writing of Supernatural to The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead, and I'm going to go off a little tangent here, The Walking Dead has no story, okay? All it is a bunch of people that walk around.
Get lost.
They live in a circle. Okay, they live in a circle, a circumference of maybe 10 miles, and they relive the same storyline over and over every 3 episodes. Okay, and those of you that like The Walking Dead, I go back and think about it. No, don't get upset at me. Think about it. What really has happened in 4 seasons? Okay, I could sum it up. This isn't a Walking Dead show, so I'm not going to get into it. I do watch The Walking Dead every single episode because it has great production, has great acting. But there's one thing that show doesn't have: phenomenal acting. Okay, I'm gonna reiterate this: phenomenal acting, great actors. Okay, great production value. I mean, holy hell, dude! AMC,
it's gorgeous.
AMC doesn't put out shit. They just don't. Okay, great production value. But there's one thing that the show's missing, and it's called writing. There is no writing. There is just nothing happens.
Well, and for me, because I read the comic,
there is no plot.
I read the comics, so I mean, like, every time I watch, I'm like, I've already read kind of what happens here. Like, I'm not really interested. I mean, I like watching Norman Reedus as Daryl, but that's
right.
That's
I enjoy the show. I do. I'm not saying I don't. I enjoy the show, but I also know I can look at things objectionally, and I'm looking at this objectionally. And The Walking Dead, nothing really happens in the show. You know, yes, it's about the characters, they always say, but really nothing happens with them. They go through the exact same scenarios week after week. You know. Anyways, on that note, sorry, Walking Dead fans. That is our troll segment. That is also the show for the week. Thank you for listening. Thomas and Ryan Denton, Thomas Cowley, not Crowley, Thomas Cowley and Ryan Denton will be back next week. And I thank Greg and Maggie for stepping into the chair so we can put out a bonus show for you guys.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you.
If you guys want to be substitutes later down the road, I would appreciate it.
It's been fun.
All right.
People like me, so.
Yeah, where can they find you, Greg, on Twitter?
On Twitter, it's The Phantom Skull.
Okay.
All one word, and then
that's it.
That's it.
Okay, Maggie.
You can find me at Magsy Me.
All right, thank you so much. And again, find us on Stitcher, iTunes, search
You little maggot. You are no longer a part of this story. Hey, ass butt.